With Director of Rugby Steve Diamond looking forward to Friday's Gallagher Premiership game against Gloucester. Dimes, it's the last home game of the season. How important is it to finish on a positive note in front of our own fans?
Really important. I think we've got coming off the back end of a poor result at weekend. It's really important for a number of reasons. One, it's going to be Callum Chick's and Jamie Blamere's last game, and they've been here, men and boys. And we want to put in a great show for them. Two, the supporter base who've been here through thick and thin, in all types of weather. And three, to get ourselves in the shop window, which we didn't manage to do last weekend, for what is the elephant in the room, the potential investors who are out there. So it's really important we finish at home with a bloody good performance.
You mentioned in terms of investment there, obviously there's been media reports which we wouldn't ask you to comment on, but how hard has it been for you to sort of keep the players' attention away from that and just on the rugby?
Well, the media attention that came out on Friday was exciting, because when companies like that are talked about coming into the sport, not just Newcastle but for the league, it's a massive buzz, but I don't know the validity of it. They always say there's no smoke without fire, but I have a very good working relationship with Seymour, and the powers that be behind the scenes are working hard to entertain potential investors. But all I can do is crack on, try and get the best out of them this weekend after a poor result on Saturday, and have a couple of beers after the game with the supporters.
It's a good time for people to get into investing in rugby with everything that's going on around the league at the moment.
Well, I think if you look at the club game, Bristol and Bath played at the Principality and there was 50-odd thousand. Twickenham hosted Quins and there's 50-odd thousand. So, we've just got a new TV deal. There are a few deals done for 8 years, split into two halves. The number of people who are watching the game between 18 and 30 has gone up 30%. So, can you imagine if a big dog came in for Newcastle in the opening game of the seasons at St James's? That's the sort of things we want. That's the sort of things Newcastle used to do. And I think there's no reason why, with the right investment and with the right recruitment, I don't see why we can't do that again.
We saw an example of an established team at Saracens down at the weekend. Obviously, a disappointing day from a Falcons' point of view. What could you take away from that game, if anything?
Well, we've got to be brutal about it, haven't we? We let ourselves down. Our forward pack couldn't control the driving maul, and our back line were trying to solve problems on their own defensively, which, when you do that against a good side, they just open you up and score 8-9 tries. So we got a bonus point out of it, and that's a small consolation, but we're not in it to get beat 75 points.
In terms of Gloucester this week, we had a couple of injuries on the day down at Saracens last weekend. In terms of selection and injuries this week, is there anything you can
update? Yeah, a couple of centres got tight hamstrings, so I don't think they'll get through. But Sam Arnold earlier fit, Ben Redshaw will be back in the team, Max Pepper will be back in somewhere, Joe Davis, all the young lads. I know a couple are leaving, but I don't hold any malice to that in our current situation. Big game for Chicky, last game, and Blamere always helped me out since I've been here. They're the junkyard dogs, really. They're the lads who control the changing room for me, and they'll be sadly missed. And hopefully we can put in a highly competitive performance. It's a very good team who are brilliant on the counter-attack.
I'm sure all those lads will get a good send-off from the supporters. Last chance this season, what would you like to say about the Kingston Park faithful this season? Because they've really turned up and got behind you.
Yeah, I think they know the situation, don't they? I think they know that we've not got the funding like we used to have. I think they've been really, really generous with me. They've not worked me out yet that I'm a bull. I don't think. I'd say it as it is most of the time, and I'm sure they feel that that's what they like. They like people who are grounded, maybe have a little bit too much industrial language for the old disciplinary department. But when it comes down to running the club, I think, you know, I like the environment. I like the area. I think if we get the right investment, then that supporter base will only grow.
Thanks for your time, Dimes, and we'll see you on Friday for some legal violence.
Thanks, pal.